Won't you please stay for the night? Everything gon' be alright when you by my side. She looks so lovely. She say that she in love with me. Her voice is like a drug to me, and I just need my fix. Take me to the beach.
Hello and welcome to Same But Different. I'm your host Flabbergast. Join with me today, my co-host Sammechi,
Hello, it's me.
and
Sammechi.
our special guest, Mr. ShinyZebra. What's going on, Shiny?
Hey, how are you?
So
Good.
dumb.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great tonight.
It's good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to jump right into it. I want to get into the meat of it. What everyone's wondering, alright? How the fuck was your Pokemon adventure?
I just finished Pokemon Shield, and it was incredible.
Nice.
I honestly really enjoyed the experience. I know that the games have been getting a lot of flack, or they got a
Yeah.
lot of flack pre-release. But man, I am having so much fun with it.
Is this like how many Pokemon games have you played in the past? Like, is it, what number is this? For you?
This is probably number like 12 or 13.
Ooh, okay, so you're a veteran. You're seasoned in Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this series. So,
What's your
admittedly,
favorite
a little
Pokemon?
biased.
What's your favorite Pokemon game of all time?
Favorite Pokemon game of all time?
Yeah, if you had to choose one, or okay, what's your favorite? I'll make it a little easier. What's your favorite like iteration, like
Gen.
the Gem series or like the original Red and Blue?
Ooh, okay. I really enjoy Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald.
Yeah.
Really? That's mine too.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah, those are my favorites too.
Ruby was my overall favorite. That was my first, maybe, I don't know.
I remember getting
I
a
was
Game
big-
Boy
I was a big
Advance
Sapphire.
and playing Emerald Green,
Mm,
and that was just like, there's
all
something
you need
different,
right
man.
yep. Well, there's a lot to it because they did a lot with the third gen that I thought was pretty awesome. Their late game for that third gen was out of this world.
Mm-hmm. No, for
with
sure.
with the Reggies and all that going on, and then on top of it, bringing in Fire Red and Leaf Green for like the halfway through the generation games. Incredible late game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
for real. And bro, I don't know, just something about those starters.
Oh yeah,
The
Trico's
starters
so
were
my favorite.
unreal.
Favorite
The
Pokemon.
starters were so good. But yeah, so like, how did you feel about like a lot of, like you said, it was getting a lot of flack, and I feel like a lot of it came from just how kind of more handholdy or like easy the game was this time around.
Yeah, and I could definitely see that. They have experience share always on for your entire team.
Mm-hmm.
Which can, to me, it can feel a little weird when like you never use a Pokemon in your party and all of a sudden it's level 70.
Yeah.
But what I really lost myself in was the wild areas. Going and catching all the Pokemon felt incredible. Like it opened up for the first time into a wild area, and it was like, oh, it's 15 hours later. I've caught 100 Pokemon.
Yeah. And I felt like this game was like such a good game. If there was one game I would pick for someone who's never played Pokemon before and I want to introduce them to the Pokemon universe, I feel like I'd go with this one over any others. Sword and Shield,
I
feel
actually
like,
completely agree.
is the best introduction to Pokemon that I could find.
I'm yet to
And-
play it, so I wanna see how the game is as a person who hasn't played really met much Pokemon since Ruby Red, Emerald Green. Like
I
whether
feel like
it will get me back into Pokemon as a whole, as a genre, or like I don't know. I'll have to see.
I feel like
I will
it's a
say with-
good game to, like, and people can come back and appreciate the old games as well through it, I think, as well. So
Yeah, well, I would say I really feel driven with this current one to like complete the Pokédex, which is a whole nother conversation. And like get a bunch of Pokemon up to level 100, do that whole shebang, because it it just seems to have a ton of depth to the way it's set up, at least in terms of like the amount of content, if not like the the hand holdiness. But
I feel like you've always been like a completionist.
that
Shiny,
is very true.
Like I feel like you've always like in every game wanted to complete the Pokédex or shit along that lines. Like
Yeah, one of my main things I do when I play through a game is if I can tell I'm supposed to go one direction, I go the other direction.
okay.
And whether that's like in a dungeon, because if you're given two hallways and you can see one's the main one, you go down the other one, you find some loot.
See, my flaw is I'll start off doing that, and then halfway through the game, I'll be like, I just want to speed run this shit. I want to see what happens at the end. And
Yeah.
I'll just stop doing all of that and just go straight for the end game.
I'm much more the speedrunner type. I love playing games as fast as possible, as minimalistic as possible, but I definitely miss out on a lot.
What was your gaming childhood, Shiny? Like I know you said this is like your 12th Pokemon game. I'm guessing that was a big part of your growing up.
Oh,
Like
certainly.
what other games did you dip into?
Growing up, I mostly played with my brother. We weren't allowed to play online until I was like in high school or so, because my parents just thought that was creepy, which admittedly can be.
I had the
It
same
can be very
parents.
creepy, yeah.
Yeah.
My mom
And-
didn't care as much as my dad did through the whole online stuff. Like
Mhm.
my mom, when I was 16, let me fly to New York by myself and meet my online friends and stay with them for a week and then fly home. My dad was very against that idea, but he was in Canada. I was living in America at the time, so
Yeah.
fuck it.
Fair enough.
But
So yeah, I played with my brother a lot. It was a lot of Nintendo titles up until like 5th grade or so, and then I started branching out into the Xbox and PlayStation. But the main thing is we played a lot of story games together. Like, I mean, I say together. It was pretty much me and he was watching, but
is this a younger brother or older brother?
younger brother,
Okay,
the classic tale.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Especially, I feel like story games were so much more the rage back then. You buy a story, you play through it, whether it was Assassin's Creed or BioShock.
Mhm.
Or,
Oh man,
No,
I
for
had
sure.
some fun with
Dishonored.
Assassin's Creed, dude. That shit was
completely.
Yo.
unreal.
Yeah,
Can't-
Brotherhood is what originally got me into the whole Assassin's Creed like scene.
I played
Brotherhood was
Assassin's
very
Creed 1. I thought
Brotherhood
it was the
was
shittiest game ever, and then played Assassin's Creed 2 and was like, this is the best franchise I've ever played. And like
That's the thing, because I played the absolute fuck out of the first Assassin's Creed, and it was so annoying.
Oh, the first Assassin's Creed was terrible.
It's just not good. Like
It's the
they
same
really
three
kept-
missions over and over
know.
and over again.
Well, and they do things where like a cutscene would just be one character talking to you, and you just had to like walk back and forth waiting for him to be done.
Yeah, I really did like the storyline and like the idea of like the Apple of Eden, but I just couldn't play the game.
Well, and that's where like they basically touched on some very great ideas, concepts, and like mechanics, and then for Assassin's Creed 2, actually polished it into an incredible game.
I
And
heard
that
like
continued with Brotherhood.
Absolutely.
Assassin's Creed 2 being like most people's favorite Assassin's Creed, and
Yeah, I know. I would
I
agree
can
with
definitely see why. But yeah, I feel like Assassin's Creed is where that like whole meme started of like being able to walk faster than the NPC you're following, and like that shit was so annoying in Assassin's Creed whenever I was fucking oh my god. Those were the most annoying missions, like trying to like follow and stay hidden, but the dude's just walking so fucking slow. It takes like 3 years to get to the end of the mission if you don't get impatient. But yeah.
So
no,
you
fucking-
started with story games with your like and stuff
yeah,
like that.
and
Like-
my brother's yeah, like a year younger than me. So we would just kind of share the story together. You know, we just comment on it the whole time, and it's kind of like if you play a story game while streaming, right? You and your chat.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got your beginnings there, and then what was your first like major multiplayer title? Like when you started being able to play multiplayer games, like what was your multiplayer beginning?
Call of Duty Black Ops on the 360.
Oh,
Mm.
dude.
That was a good one.
That's a
Yeah.
good game, dude. Is that when you started to get fucking cracked at every video game you've ever played, or
Yeah.
did it?
That was definitely the first video game I got good at, but it didn't like I didn't really, the trend didn't start happening till later.
Okay.
The trend.
Because I picked up League, and dude, I've still never been good at League.
Well, you found your genre, I think, like looking at you playing like things like Risk of Rain and Apex and stuff like that. I think you found like FPS to be your genre.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's where I feel comfy, I think.
Do you think the battle royale genre is like kind of part of that, or do you think like any FPS you pick up you could just be good at?
I mean, the skills transfer pretty well. I do think battle royales I've put more time into than anything else, so it's definitely where I feel most at home. But I love a good brain dead run and gun in Call of Duty.
Yeah. So, did you ever get into any like Counter-Strike or anything like that?
I actually did play some Counter-Strike. Funny enough, it was before I was actually good at aiming on the PC. So I've never gotten good at it in any way, but I've played probably a couple hundred hours.
I mean, that's
Okay.
more than a lot of people can stand dying over and over and over again. But so you stream, you've decided to do the path of content creation. Like being good at video games, like you could easily compete. Do you ever think about going the esports direction instead of your content creation direction, or are you happy with kind of where you've settled in content creation? Or
We actually had this talk with Wavy where like unfortunately that footage was lost. So but like the path of entertainer versus esports, and like just if you're able to mend that or merge those, or like if you feel it's more productive to focus on one, or if you think it's even possible to like do both at the same time
Right.
before you like become established in one.
That's a great question. I would say my opinion on that is it's probably possible to do esports and streaming at the same time, but you would have to be focusing on the esports. I really don't think you could focus on streaming and have esports on the side very effectively.
Yeah.
I've considered the competition route before. I was actually pretty close to it with Overwatch. But it was at a point in my schooling where I couldn't afford to do something like that. But I've become really happy with content creation. It gives you a place to a bit of a creative outlook or outlet, which I think is really important to keep up. Is just something where like you get to call the shots, you get to make the decisions, and see what comes from that.
Your own boss, yeah.
Exactly.
Like fuck, what was I just gonna say? I literally just had something. You just took a hiatus from the internet pretty much, like gaming and stuff. How
yeah,
long were you how long did you take off?
I was gone from May 1st until about halfway through September. So I think it's like 4.5 months.
Okay.
It was interesting.
Yeah. What was it like coming back to streaming after being gone that long?
It was really tough. I mean, my real talk, my viewership still hasn't mended at all, but that's much to be expected.
Yeah.
But
you're not starting with a blank slate, but close to it being
yeah, pretty
gone
much.
for
It's
so
it's
long.
kind of like, okay, starting again with some old
Yeah.
faces.
Yeah.
But it was very tough coming back to streaming because whereas before I was a quote unquote full-time streamer, aka I didn't have to pay rent. Um,
Fair enough.
now I'm trying to do part-time streaming in the evenings while keeping up a full-time workload, and it's definitely a lot harder to keep up the motivation than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been pretty good with grinding out the hours, but now coming home from a long day, it's like, man, I really enjoy what I'm doing here, but I'm just so tired.
Yeah.
I feel that.
And did you have a stint in Rocket League?
Oh yeah, I did.
I heard you had a competitive stint in Rocket League. How was that?
That was really interesting. So the first 8 months or so Rocket League was out, I put in, I think it was like 600 hours. I was going pretty hard with
Dang.
it. And I played in the esports league a bit.
Okay.
Kind of
So
forgot
you were
about
getting
that.
serious about it.
Yeah, I was. I was having a lot of fun. I ended up having a moment where it was right as Overwatch was coming out too, so it kind of plays in. But I got a new computer, got an upgrade. It was awesome. And somewhere in the transfer of all my files and data and everything, I ended up losing all of my data for Rocket League.
Oh
Oh
no.
no.
So I was reset back down to level 0 with no cosmetics.
That's
Unfortunate.
heartbreaking. That's so heartbreaking. Wow.
It was pretty rough. So that just as soon as I realized that, I kind of just didn't play it again for probably like a year.
Understandably so, really.
Yeah, that's like major demotivation, like disheartening.
Yeah, like 600 hours of work or so.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
man,
you still
losing it all.
have the skill, but like
But you lose
I
like the
had
clout.
just hit like the legend status, and
Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, that is.
It reset like your rank and everything, like all of that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, it was just all gone. Basically, at some point while troubleshooting something, I'm pretty sure I turned off syncing with the cloud. And then when I lost my Steam files, there was no backup data for them to like pull. And
Oh no, that's
so
so
unfortunate.
unfortunate. Oh, that hurts.
yeah, but you know, Overwatch came out at that point. I was going pretty hard with that. Overwatch is actually the game where I trained my keyboard aim.
Okay.
And ever since then, I've been more of a first-person shooter guy.
Yeah.
Right on.
And back to the hiatus stuff. Not just coming back to streaming, but gaming in general. Like, was it hard readjusting, like getting your muscle memory back and like all that kind of stuff, or was it like kind of riding a bike for you?
A little bit of both. You know, a lot of it you just don't forget, but the muscle memory was definitely the toughest part. I would say there was probably a month or two in there where it was just the kind of thing where like I knew what I was supposed to do, but my hands just didn't do it, or I didn't think of it fast enough. Because there's a little bit of muscle memory to your brain as well, you know.
Lights are on, but no one's home, kind of thing.
Exactly. Like you just, you know, when you're really in the groove for a while, you know, you get used to thinking, oh, I need to take the high ground.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You're like
So
like game sense in a way. Like
yeah.
I kind of noticed that too. Like Sammy and I have been playing a lot more like CS:GO recently, and we both used to be decently high level players. And like coming back, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm shit at this. Like, why am I so bad? I used to be really good. Like, where'd my skill go?
Yeah.
And then like as we've been playing over the months, like we like have
it's gradually been coming.
It's been coming back, right? Like it's like our game sense is kind of coming back.
Yeah, you start having those moments where you're like, I'm a nut again.
Yeah, you like start making like the smart play instead of like just lucky plays, and like.
But now what I've noticed is it's becoming more like I'm starting to understand like the plays and stuff a lot better now, and like remembering kind of my game sense and stuff, but now it's like I need to really work on my aim again. Like my aim has
Yeah, deteriorated.
deteriorated
Yeah.
significantly. So
Same. Like, yeah. It's a yeah. I get where it like kind of comes back, but at the same time, you also have to like retrain.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's where there was definitely a month or two in there where it was just that feeling of, man, if I was back in my prime, I would have hit that, you know,
Like I could have taken on this whole last team.
that whole squad was dead if I could aim.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
if it was just if this was 6 months ago, 7 months ago, that whole team would have been dead. Easily.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it was I really, and to come back and experience that for a month or two while streaming was I really had to swallow my pride a bit, or I would just sound like a bitch if I just kept making excuses.
Totally. It's hard not to whine, like, or like to be like, "Fuck, dude! Like, I could have got him. I know I'm better than this. Why am I
Yep.
playing
Yeah.
like shit?"
And also like coming back to people who are like, you know, a lot worse than you, who are killing you. It's like, man, it hurts the ego a little bit.
Yeah, really.
And I mean, coming back to a stream watching, who knows how cracked you are, right? Has been like in your stream because you like part because
they
you are
started
cracked
watching,
at
yeah.
video games, right? And like you come back
And all of a
you're
sudden
like,
you're not providing that.
yeah, you're not providing that like insane gameplay again. It's like, oh shit, like what happened? You know, like it's. I feel like that would be like hard. Like it's almost like not embarrassing, but it's like it's hard to get motivation to keep doing it if people aren't coming in to watch you do what you do.
Right, completely. So
Yeah.
I would say great question, Sammy, because it was a tough transition back. I'm really glad to be back, so much, but definitely just had to like grit the teeth and go for it for a bit.
And you know what? I think what doesn't help in coming back though as well, and something I've noticed is you lose your muscle memory, a little bit of your game sense, your aim, whatever. But what you don't lose is that confidence you had when you were playing as good as. So now you're playing confidently, but without the skill.
Confidently but badly.
Yeah, and
That's really good.
and it's just not a good combination. But I don't know. You got there at one point, and I think it's good to remember like you were able to get to that position, so you can get there again. So
Yeah, completely.
and to keep that in mind, I feel like is important coming back. But yeah, so moving on, I have a topic that I know. Shout out to Tina, she's gonna like. But how have you been enjoying Disney Plus? Cause I've been a big fan, and I've been rampaging through Disney Plus. I know Flab's also been a big fan. He's been wanting to talk about it, but
I've been
I
grinding.
made sure to save it for this podcast because I've been getting some Snapchats from you and Tina. You know.
You know, I've really been enjoying having it. Honestly, I haven't watched too much yet, but I'm very much a show browser. Like I really enjoy just going through the menu and like remembering all these shows I never.
Yeah, and
never
like looking
remembered.
at what you could watch.
Yeah.
If you
the
wanted to.
reminiscing. Totally.
Yeah.
Were you
so
a big
that's
were
kind of
you a
the stage
big
I'm
Disney
on.
kid, or
Oh,
were you
yeah,
more
definitely,
Nickelodeon?
definitely.
Or...
And it's interesting because since I was a kid, I don't really watch movies anymore. It's just something that never sounds appealing to me. Nothing against them, you know. It's just I'm very much more of a TV show guy at this point. Now that you can binge that shit, and so it's interesting seeing all those Disney original movies and being like, whoa, I watched a lot of movies.
Yeah, especially growing up, like I feel like I forgot most of my childhood, and bringing up these movies again is like I remember sitting on the couch, rewinding this on the VCR, and just watching it again and again. Like,
dude,
Bug's Life was that for me. That was like my movie.
that was me with Star Wars. I swear to God, I watched Star Wars daily as a kid. Like, my mom always tells me like, she's like, you just wanted to watch Star Wars. That's all you wanted to watch. There was nothing else. I was like, oh shit. Like, so The Mandalorian has just been insane for me. Have you seen it yet?
I have not. I'm waiting on it because Tina isn't caught up on Star Wars.
How do you feel about the binging versus the like waiting for the weekly episodes type deal? Because I know some people really don't like the binging like mentality of shows and like to wait for that, have that like build up before an episode. But where's your stance on that?
I first of all, I love binging TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
I will do it. It's like my happiest state is just finding a show and watching nonstop. But I do watch weekly if, like, you know, if new stuff is coming out, I watch it as I can get it. Generally, if some shows I wait for the binge just because I want it to be all that sweet, but generally I don't have the self-control to wait.
Yeah.
I think The Mandalorian is worth waiting for the 9 episodes because they're done at the end of December. It's worth. I like the wait, but I also hate the wait so much, and like I want it to just be all out so I can binge it. And realistically, I probably will just binge the whole thing over again once it's all out. But man, Disney, man.
I'm not
Disney's
gonna lie,
crazy.
I wasn't a huge Star Wars fan growing up. My stepdad tried to get me into it. I wasn't like feeling the whole Star Wars vibe. So I don't know how much I'd like The Mandalorian. But I'd be willing to give it a try.
Are you a Star Wars guy? Like, how do you feel about the Disney acquisition of Star Wars, Shiny?
I was pretty hyped about it when it happened. I remember because, you know, Disney has such a big budget. They generally do very well with stuff. Like Disney movies are good. They just are.
That's just huge budgets, right?
Exactly. But you know how they've done with movies 7 and 8.
Yeah, I can agree
Not
with that. I can agree with that. But how do you feel about like Rogue One and Solo?
Rogue One was incredible.
Rogue One, I think, is the best movie that they've done since the Disney franchise.
I agree with that. Yeah, it was just an incredible movie, and it really coming out after 7. You know, 7 was all right. There were some tropes in it, and everyone was like, "That's a trope." It was like, "Yeah." And then Rogue One came out, and it's like, "Oh shit, they're ramping this shit up."
Yeah.
And then that wasn't really the case, but
Yeah.
It was definitely a hype generator for sure.
Totally. How do you have you heard the new Vader movie coming out? Have you seen anything?
No,
on
I
that?
have not.
I've heard rumors from people, from notably Batty.
Okay, good source.
Who's a good source, said that there's a Vader movie coming out or something, which
Yeah.
it tells Vader's life. It's
remember
like
saying
it's a Rogue One sequel.
Okay.
And
So
I'd be interested in watching that because, you know, like I'm not super interested in the Star Wars universe, but like I know about it obviously, and I'd be interested in watching something similar.
yeah.
Oh, also to be mentioned with the Disney acquisition was when they declared that the entire extended universe was no longer canon.
Yeah, that was weird. It's all now legend. All the extended universe is now legend.
It's basically fanfic.
Yeah, that was weird to me. That, like, because there's so much like canonical explanation in stuff like the Clone Wars TV show and like,
Yeah.
Rebels, like Star Wars Rebels and stuff like that. Like, there's so much. Yeah, I don't know. That's super weird.
Yeah, it was a very weird moment for them to do, but you know, they're producing more content at least, so it's kind of filling in the holes. But I mean, there was a whole universe, well, galaxy of lore in those movies, books, TV shows.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's amazing how the movie was never even supposed to have a sequel.
Like, I know that.
It came out as a single movie by George Lucas and was never supposed to have a sequel, and ended up being one of the biggest franchises in history. Arguably the biggest movie franchise in history.
Yeah. No,
Other than
I
like
would-
maybe
I-
Avengers.
It was only created for the purpose of showing off the new computer graphics.
Yeah, it was it was coming off the coattails of like Indiana Jones.
Damn, that's crazy. So, okay, back to growing up though. What kind of like what movies, like if you can get specific with it, like were really like a part of your growing up, like a part of like molding you into ShinyZebra? Like what did you watch a lot of?
Have you guys ever heard of The Master of Disguise?
Oh my god, with Dana Carvey.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's a throwback, dude.
I wish I could say yes, but I have
Oh
no clue what
my
you're talking
god.
about.
I want to be the master of disguise.
Yeah, there's a lot of quotes from it.
Bro, that movie is so good.
Sammy, it's basically like a PG version of Austin Powers.
Okay.
It's
Is
got
how I've never described it, but think that's it.
That's very accurate actually. It's oh my god, it's so dumb.
But I watched that movie more than I think anything else I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I
Dang.
We had the same childhood as Shiny.
I remember, I think the movie I watched the most as a kid was a movie called The Little Vampire. And looking back, I went and rewatched the trailer for the movie a little while ago. And oh my god, is it bad. Like, like just the effects in it and stuff. Like, it was about this little boy who moves to, I think he moves to like New Zealand or some shit. And he believes in vampires, but his parents don't. And then one day this vampire comes and visits him, and there's a big battle, and shit happens, and he becomes best friends with this other little vampire boy. Anyways, it's just not very good. But I remember like there was one scene in the movie where the little boy.
Oh, wait, is it a little blonde boy?
Yeah, it's a little blonde boy.
I've seen this.
You've seen it? I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
he's the same dude that was in Stuart Little.
Yes, I agree with that.
The
With the
same kid.
glasses. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
And-
never seen this movie.
And there's one scene where he puts these paper fangs in his teeth. And I remember for like a week straight, I would walk around with these paper fangs in my teeth because I just loved the movie so much.
Oh my goodness.
Do you guys have any stories like that where like something like a movie or a TV show had like affected you so much as a kid you ended up like walking around with paper fangs for a week? Or another example, I was watching Arthur, and there was an episode where DW, Arthur's little sister, gets sucked. It might have been Arthur actually, but I think it was DW, gets sucked down the drain of the tub. And I wouldn't take a bath for like 2 weeks because I was so terrified of getting sucked down the drain.
Oh, so nothing's changed.
Yeah, I'm still terrified. But yeah, do you guys have any stories like that where you were affected by something so harshly as a kid, or were you not as impressionable?
Flab?
I was gonna ask you. Actually, yes. So my grandfather loves The Mask of Zorro. That's his favorite movie of all time. And so as a kid, we would watch it all the time because we lived in a duplex with them. So we'd always watch every time they were babysitting us. Me and my grandfather and my brother would watch The Mask of Zorro. And I went to school and I had like 3 Halloweens in a row where I was Zorro for Halloween. Which, like, it was, oh my god.
You seem like a Zorro, Flab.
Dude, I
You
love
seem like
Zorro.
you could swing a sword.
I loved it. Dude, me and my brother would reenact the sword fight scenes all the time. And like, oh, and Princess Bride. My brother and I we had toy lightsabers and we would sword fight and reenact all of the Princess Bride, the Inigo Montoya sword fight
Mhm.
all the
left-handed.
time.
Yeah.
Princess Bride was my favorite movie for a very long time.
Oh my god, it's such a classic.
I know.
Did you have anything like that, Shiny?
I don't know if I was as affected by like a specific movie. I was very affected by genres, whether it was like ninjas or Power Rangers kind of stuff. Where I was a Power Ranger for probably 3 Halloweens in a row, or a ninja 3 Halloweens after that, you know.
Totally. You were.
And I'd watch every little kid ninja movie and that kind of thing.
Were you a TMNT fan?
Oh, I loved TMNT.
Oh.
Which is your favorite turtle?
Oh, it's always been Donatello,
Really?
which is super off base. Because most people, as like little kids, you like love Michelangelo, and then you love Leonardo.
I was gonna say Michelangelo is my favorite.
But like I've always loved Donatello with the bow staff. Like it's just
I know.
like it's just the sweetest. The purple mask, everything about Donatello was just awesome. He was like a wizard genius, and just like, yeah.
I
that
used to
was
have
really
a I used to have a Michelangelo mask, and I would take socks and I'd use them as nunchucks.
short. Did you ever put like a tennis ball in the end of a tube sock and like whip them around? It's like a. Oh man.
Those were good times. What was your favorite TMNT?
Mine was also Donatello.
Really?
Yeah,
No
no, I
way.
loved- He's the only one, like he has the wooden weapon, which everyone else has like metal ones that I don't know. I think I was just trying to be non-mainstream back then, if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I have that same feeling. Like everyone's like, "Oh, I'm Raphael. I have daggers.
Yeah.
I'm the color red." I was always into the bow staff, and I played I don't know which TMNT game it was, but it was on the GameCube.
Oh, I think I remember that one.
I'm googling it right now. I think it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Battle Nexus. Just judging by the art. But holy crap, I played the absolute crap out of the game. It was like an arcade beat 'em up kind of style.
Yeah, like a side scroller beat 'em up.
Oh, yeah, I played.
Yeah.
I think I played that as well. They also had like you said earlier, Power Rangers. They had a Power Rangers one too that I played, but I don't remember what system that was for. I think it was for that SNES.
That sounds right. I played a Power Rangers game for Game Boy Color,
Oh.
so it's like the same era.
I never really played any Power Rangers games. I was really into Tony Hawk.
Oh,
Tony Hawk and Zelda were like my 2 games as a kid. Like,
what's your favorite Tony Hawk?
oh man. I have
Mine's
to say,
Underground.
okay. I have to say, like, the first Tony Hawk I ever played was Pro Skater 2.
Uh-huh.
Or Pro Skater 1 actually. I got it. I broke my collarbone, and as like for sitting in the ER for so long and being a good little boy and taking a week off school for a broken arm, or broken collarbone, my dad let me rent Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and I never took it back. It was the yellow cartridge and everything for the N64, but I have to say my favorite one ever was Tony Hawk Underground 2? Underground 1? Tony Hawk Pro Skater Underground.
Tony Hawk Underground was my first ever Tony Hawk game and my favorite for the original Xbox.
Underground. I think it was Underground. Yeah, it was Underground 1, because Need for Speed Underground 2 was my favorite Need for Speed game.
Interesting. My favorite Tony Hawk was Pro Skater 4.
Okay, so right before Underground.
Yeah, two was my first. I played that on the 64, but the GameCube, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, man, I got into that.
Which is the one where you could do like the big heads and like the Darth Maul skin and the Spider-Man skin? Was that Pro Skater 3 or Pro Skater 4?
Good question. Because I remember stuff like that, but I could have played all of them and just not remember
I've
it.
played all
Yeah.
of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember because the reason Underground's my favorite is because my dad, it was right when eBay started to get big, and my dad put this super low bid on an Xbox with 32 games and 4 controllers. And because he was a big gamer and he wanted to play with his friends, so like he put this like super low bid on an Xbox. It was like 2 or 3 years before the Xbox 360 came out, and he ended up winning. So we got an Xbox with like 30 games and 4 controllers for like $100.
Damn. Okay.
And oh my god, played so much. And
My dad,
Underground was in there.
we had a friend. His name was Todd, and I think he was moving or something, and he needed to get rid of his stuff. And I think he just gave my dad his Xbox, and so I'd play like. Do you guys remember TAC?
Yeah, yeah.
Tack, dude.
I'd
yeah.
play I'd play
And like the power
so
of
much
Juju
TAC.
or whatever.
Yeah, and the power of Juju. I'd play so much TAC. Oh my god, that was my shit. But yeah, no, I think that's how I
God, I just
acquired.
made 8 crafting tables.
I think that's how I acquired my first Xbox. What was your first ever gaming system that you can remember playing on?
Playing on the
Yeah.
Sega
Like an actual
Genesis.
game. Okay.
But owning myself, well, you know, owning myself as a 5-year-old child,
Yeah.
the Nintendo 64.
Okay.
What's your
The
earliest
first-
gaming memory? Like, what's like your first game that you remember being like, I'm playing this, like controller in hand, I am physically the one controlling the character.
Super Mario 64.
Oh, okay, Super Mario 64.
That's a good one.
Nice.
I think the first
At least for like console games. Sorry,
Yeah.
continue.
the first I can remember playing was probably Donkey Kong Country for what was that for?
I was on 64.
N64. Playing that with my cousin sitting we were sitting on the floor of his bedroom and he had a N64 in his room. I thought that was the dopest shit ever. And we would play that.
Donkey Kong
but-
Country is an Unreal game.
What was the first what was the first game you remember beating?
Beating.
Yeah, beating through and through.
Ooh. I'm just doing like Nintendo 64 games because
That's your like, yeah.
I like handheld games are small and easy to beat kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. We're mostly talking like console games.
Yeah. Mega Man 64.
Mega Man 64. Damn.
Damn. Okay. I don't think I ever beat a Mega Man, I'm not gonna lie. I even got it on an emulator and still didn't beat it. I just didn't.
The first game,
Dude, the original was hard.
the first game
Yeah.
I ever remember playing, and the first game I ever remember beating is Ocarina of Time. I mean, mind you, beating is a very loose term. I couldn't read yet. So my dad would kind of give me hints, but he'd let me just run around
Mhm.
like as Link
Cute.
and like play the game, and like so I did everything. I played the game. I beat all the bosses, but my dad basically took me through the story, like walked me through the storyline, like how to do different things, cuz before he let us play anything, we were so young that before he let us play it, he would like play through it first to like be able to help us. So, yeah, so that was what we did.
So you would say your dad was your biggest influence in like gaming and getting into gaming and
Oh
stuff,
yeah,
right?
dude. I remember as a little kid, I would like sit on my dad's lap and play like old school Doom. My dad was an old school Doom competitive player.
Damn, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's actually super dope. What would you say your biggest influence was? Tiny.
Goodness, I don't really know if I had one. I just kind of flew blind with my brother.
Okay.
So
So you kind of carved your own path.
yeah, 100%.
It wasn't like at school or anything like that.
I mean, I definitely had friends growing up who were into it. Specifically, like my best friend as a kid. We became friends because at some point we figured out we both had GameCubes.
Oh hell yeah.
Classic.
But Yeah, I would say, I guess outside of just playing games with my brother, probably like my friend group at school, who that's what got me into like really into Fire Emblem and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, my uncle was the one that got me into gaming. He would whenever he'd babysit me, or like my aunt and my uncle would babysit me, and I'd go over to their house. There would be he'd have WoW, on his PC, and I'd just go and play that. I wouldn't know what the fuck was going on because I was like 5 or 6 at the time.
Hmm.
But I would have a good ass time creating 100 characters, and then running around with them until I got bored, and then deleting the character and making a new one, and then running around until I got bored. But no, like I remember he had a dual monitor setup, and this was like it's probably in like 2000, 2004, 2005. And like I remember taking the mouse, like the cursor, from one screen and moving it to the next and being so fucking amazed, like asking him like how's this done? How did you do that? Like inquiring about fucking literally everything under the sun. And I don't know, that like really sparked my just seeing that double monitor setup like really fucking sparked my curiosity about like technology and like gaming and stuff. For some reason, I just remember that so like vividly of just the how amazed I was at it. Oh shit.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here's a question for you guys. What's your guilty pleasure genre of video game?
Guilty pleasure genre.
Oh man.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Here, you guys can think about it because I have an answer to it.
Okay.
Yeah, give us your
Well,
answer.
My real guilty pleasure when it comes to video gaming is JRPGs.
Oh, okay.
I can just fall in love with Japanese role-playing games.
So like, have you played like
Okay.
Doki Doki kind of deal, or like
No, like
Blue
think old
Dragon?
style. Yes, the turn-based combat. Also, Blue Dragon, best niche game ever.
Blue Dragon was an awesome game.
Yes.
I didn't know what was
for what?
happening because I just didn't understand JRPGs. I didn't
Yeah.
understand turn-based combat,
Mm-hmm.
but
No,
I
having a squad with turn-based combat gets me going. Sorry, anyways, Sammy.
I don't think I have like a specific genre, but I do have a game that's like a guilty pleasure of mine. I'm not actually playing it at the moment, but every couple years or so, well not couple years, every like year or so, I'll like get back into it for like a few months very heavily, like incredibly heavily, and then I'll fall out again.
Mhm.
But Maple Story, dog. I like
I knew it. I
I
fucking
played that,
knew
yeah,
it.
I played that growing up, and now like I'll want that like fucking shot of nostalgia in my veins, and I'll just like I'll play it, and I'll just like not stop for like weeks, months, and then eventually I'll get bored, and the nostalgia will run out, and I'll just like be like, why am I playing this, and I'll stop. But yeah, no, Maple Story for sure is my guilty pleasure game. But I have a oh no, I know exactly what my guilty pleasure genre is. Thinking about it now,
What's
I
that?
fucking love tycoon games.
Oh,
But like,
dude.
I'm not talking like roller coaster tycoon. I'm talking like I played pro gamer simulator or some shit like
Oh, like
fucking
YouTube simulator.
YouTuber life or whatever
Yeah.
it's called, and it's like real life, like just being a dude, just being a dude tycoon,
Dudes being dudes.
Just the
dudes
guys
dudes.
being dudes.
And it's just like I don't know why I'm so infatuated with it, but I am.
That's hilarious.
Flab, do you have a
Tycoon games.
genre? that you can think of as your guilty pleasure?
I would say sports games. Like including like skating games and racing games. Like I love like the Need for Speed series. I love playing NBA, like 2K.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just not like widely played on PC, but I'll just binge like 50 to 60 hours of NBA like like once a year. I'll buy like last year's game for $5 on G2A and then play it for like 100 hours and then just like stop and never pick it up again and then like buy the next one and like so like when Forza Horizons came out, that shit was amazing. Like I don't know. I can just play so much racing. Especially if you can like customize your cars. If you can customize your cars, that like
Yeah.
the customization feature, I think I spent more time customizing my cars in Need for Speed than I did racing.
Did you ever play Need for Speed Carbon?
Carbon was the best one.
Okay, that's my favorite racing game.
That's the best racing game they're ever made. Like Need for Speed, I think Underground 2 will still always be my favorite racing game just because the nostalgia attached to playing that one. Like, and the Riders on the Storm with Snoop Dogg on the soundtrack.
What's the one where you just crashed into shit?
That's pretty much all Need for Speeds.
Yeah, that's pretty much all Need for Speeds.
Like
Carbon was the one with the mountain drag races. I remember getting the Murcielago in that game. Oh.
Yeah, you got the pink slips.
Yeah, you got the R8 at the end of the game when you beat the last guy, Rob, or
Burnout.
whatever his name was. Oh, Burnout.
Burnout. That's the only car game I played was Burnout.
Oh man.
How do you guys Shiny, what's your take on mobile games? Mobile gaming.
Are
mobile gamers real gamers, Shiny?
I would say it's a tough one because there are different aspects of different mobile games that I find really respectable. I generally try to stay away from them because I get sucked in.
Yeah, no. There's been a couple mobile games that, as of recently, that have sucked me in, which are also a couple of them guilty pleasures, but
yeah.
Okay, Dragons.
Yeah,
Merge
Dragons. I started to play Case Clicker, which is literally just which is basically just like you get items and you can gamble them like CS:GO items and stuff through cases.
Yeah, we might start CS:GO gambling because it's fun as hell.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. There's like, it's just those mobile games, man. They're like, cause like we went to DreamHack recently.
Yes.
And there was a tournament on.
Yeah.
I think what was the main stage. I might be wrong.
Yeah, it kind of felt like there were 16 main stages at DreamHack.
Yeah,
but no, it was up on the big screen.
It was a big stage for mobile PUBG.
Mobile PUBG big stage.
It was like it was like a 100-person tournament. Like,
are you allowed to use those triggers?
I don't think so.
I doubt it.
I could be wrong, but I don't think so. But yeah, I like. What do you think of like competition for mobile games like that? Like, do you think there's a spot for it, or do you think
I think that's really interesting because that is one side of mobile gaming, that it is highly competitive. There is a high skill gap, or skill ceiling, I should say. Auto aim's kind of weird, but side note, this village I just found has a ravine cutting straight through it.
Dope.
It's kind of, I mean, I was surprised at DreamHack to see that, honestly. You know, I hadn't realized that mobile gaming had really gotten to that point where you could have tournaments.
I didn't think the viewership was there. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't think there would be money in displaying like a mobile game, but I guess if they're already hosting other tournaments on that stage as well, like, why not? But it did seem like a big event.
Oh yeah, no, people were into it for sure.
A lot bigger than that rock paper scissors event they had there was. That was something else.
That was one for the ages.
I'll just say that. And we haven't even like spoken on like Minecraft or anything. Did Minecraft have an impact on you as a growing up under your formidable years
Oh, dude, did it.
as a young zebra?
Yeah, I mean, Minecraft, I didn't start playing it till I was a sophomore in high school, junior in high school. I think sophomore. But it was my first PC game.
Okay.
Because I mean, it was only on PC back then.
Mm-hmm.
I played it on a laptop that even at the time was probably 5 years old. With a tracker pad.
Oh,
And
man.
I on Minecraft, the settings on all the way low, I got 2 frames per second.
Damn. Holy shit. I also played Minecraft with a trackpad when I first started. And it was honestly, I didn't realize at the time how fucking dumb that was. I just thought that was like,
How you did it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and then I think I went through like literally like 2 or 3 laptops just from Minecraft, like burning my fucking motherboard out or like doing some shit, like literally I fried two or three laptops. I think I fried 2 laptops, and then I had a third laptop that my sister stepped on and has still not admitted to it to this day that she stepped on it and broke everything. Because I remember I had a friend over and I'd put my laptop on the ground by the bed, and she came into the room and came over by our bed, and we all heard like a crack, and she was like, it wasn't me, and then ran away. And she still, like, to this day hasn't admitted to stepping on my laptop, but I know it was her, that bitch. I know it was you.
Dude, I got my Minecraft beginnings. I realized it actually yesterday. I started on Xbox.
Oh, really?
When
they
it came out on
released the-
Xbox, I played it on Xbox, and I have put probably 1,000 hours onto Xbox Minecraft. My
Wow.
brother sent me a
a
Snapchat a
lot
couple
of
days ago. He
hours.
went to our parents' house, and he sent me a snapshot of all of our old worlds still on our Xbox hard drive, and I was like, holy shit, like those still exist. Like, we put some work into those. Like, oh man. We
Well,
would play with
my
all of
first-
our friends on Xbox Live, and
Oh yeah, that was the coolest. Inviting like a team of 8 to come.
yeah, we basically had a
Mhm.
free realm essentially, and we would just
Mhm.
all play, and like we had like a big ass world. We made like 1,000 by 1,000 floating island with like oh my god, I seriously, we every day after school we put so much fucking time into that game.
Yo, Minecraft was my life for a good 2 years, 2 or 3
Yeah,
years.
I completely agree with that.
Minecraft
Yeah.
is such a good game. Like, I mean, it still holds up, right? Like we were
It's a
talking
classic, yeah.
like last podcast, like, or not last podcast, 2 podcasts ago, how like it came out in 2009, and
It's not even this decade.
not even this
Yeah.
decade, and yet the YouTube Rewind came out today, and it is still the most watched video game on YouTube. It beat Fortnite
Over
this
Fortnite.
year.
It beat Fortnite this year.
What?
For
It
most
beat
views on
Fortnite for
YouTube.
most views for a video game. It got 100 billion views on YouTube this year.
Yeah.
It remains the biggest game in the world.
And I don't know. There's just no game that can match Minecraft and the longevity. Like, there's just
Oh yeah.
I can't
It-
think of a
It's
single thing.
the perfect game, really. There's so
Yeah.
much you can do, and the updates and patches they've put into the game are just unbelievable. Like
Mhm.
the work that they've put into this game is unmatched.
So, how many hours would you guys guess you've put into Minecraft?
Oh God.
I know
I
it's
put a-
difficult. It's difficult.
Okay. To give you a idea, I put somewhere around 6,000 hours into CS:GO, and
What?
I've played probably almost double the amount of I put probably almost double.
Have you been
Minecraft.
alive for 18,000 hours?
That's a
Got 'em,
good
dude.
question.
That is a good question.
That's a really good question. But I got Minecraft when I got Minecraft when it first came out. Because I think I saw the Yogscast play it the day it like went public in like alpha or whatever. And I immediately went to my mom and I was like, "Mom, can you buy me this?" And I bought the game.
Back when it
For,
was
like,
cheap, it
$10.
was like
Yeah,
$10 when it came
it was
out.
like
$10
it was
game,
like
yep.
$8 or $10. And I bought the game, and I think I was like 9 years old, maybe 10 years old at the time, and now I spent like 6 years playing Minecraft straight, and I spent maybe 3 years playing CS straight. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
man.
And also, keep in mind as well, I wasn't really going to school at the time. I was missing like 60 days a year. So like I was missing like almost half of my school year playing video games.
That's
Actually
sweet, bro.
Yeah, I actually also got Halo Reach I think the same year or maybe the year after, which brings me to my next question, Shiny.
Yes.
How do you feel about Halo coming to the PC?
I'm
Were you a
very
big-
hyped about it.
Were you a big Halo dude?
Yeah, I played more Halo 3 and Halo Reach than I care to admit, honestly.
Yeah.
Yep. Haven't we all?
My all-time I'm not trying to glorify. I'm not trying to like not trying to glorify
Condone
or
skipping school to
anything,
play
or
video
condone
games.
skipping school, but I hit my record of school days missed when the year I got Halo Reach for Christmas. So it was a lot. But yeah, so
I'm very excited that it came out on PC. I have not bought it yet, but you know, midweek stuff is difficult.
yeah, are you buying with a are you going to be playing with a controller, or do you think you're gonna go mouse and keyboard route?
Oh, definitely mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm doing too.
I don't even know how to look left and walk right with a controller anymore.
I picked up a
Dude.
controller and tried it because Ripon was like, "Holy shit, the aim assist is amazing."
The aim
I was
assist is
like-
actually nutty.
Yeah, and I was like, I just can't do it though. Like I can't even move. Like aim assist can't help me if I can't fucking move. But yeah, so I'm really excited. I've been playing a lot of it, and I don't know. It might be fun to get a little competitive with it. I can see Halo Reach coming back as a popular competitive game.
Oh
Or
yeah, dude.
any of it
MLG is
does.
just timeless. MLG
Yeah.
format is so fun and so timeless.
I always get well, less so now for some reason, but I used to get a lot of backlash when I'd say Halo Reach was my favorite Halo of all time.
I would too. I would too. That's the game
I
I
know-
played.
A lot of people ride for 3. A
I
lot
know.
of people
That's
ride
that's
for
what I'm
3.
sitting here thinking about.
I
Mhm.
ride or die for Reach, dude. I played 3 competitively and I played Reach competitively, and I gotta say I liked Reach more. I had more fun with Reach. I got further competitively with Reach.
Okay, here's my take. 3 had, in my opinion, the best Halo campaign.
Okay.
Reach, I probably enjoyed more when it comes to multiplayer and the horde mode that they implemented.
Yeah, dude.
Reach was a tearjerker though.
Reach did have a tearjerker
Dude,
story.
yeah, holy crap.
I think the first time I played through Reach, I legitimately cried.
Oh, dude, when I didn't want to believe what was gonna happen, and then it happened. I was like, no.
Wait, are we to a point where we shouldn't talk about what happens
I'm
because
not going
people
to because there's so
probably
many
for the
new
first time?
people
Yeah.
that are getting into Halo for the first time,
That's
especially
so
Yeah.
Reach.
interesting.
That like I don't want to give spoilers because
That is a super interesting concept. That it's a game. How old?
It's 10 years
almost
old.
10 years.
10 years old.
Almost
Yeah,
10
it's a
years?
10-year anniversary of Reach.
And we can't spoil the ending because so many new people are getting into the game. That's something really crazy.
That's awesome.
I never thought about that.
Oh my god, like they're all
It's-
so good. They're all so good. I will
It's
say,
awesome.
Halo 3 had better maps. There are a few maps on Reach
Halo
that are
3's maps were
untouchable,
awesome.
but Pit, you can't beat Pit. It's the best map ever made.
I will say it is amazing watching people be introduced to my childhood, especially recently with Reach coming back out and as a new Pokemon. I've heard a lot of people like new players coming to Pokemon because of this game, and I don't know. It's really exciting to like watch all these people fall in love with my childhood. I don't know, because like a lot of these people, like specifically Nufo, shout out. I was talking to her and she like her childhood was RuneScape and Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping I get to play this new Animal Crossing game because I never really experienced Animal Crossing. Like I never really played
Really?
it as a kid.
I hardly played any
Um,
Animal Crossing either, actually.
Yeah. So like I want to fall in love with their childhood too.
Mm-hmm.
But like just watching everyone like enjoying it as much as I did as a kid, it's just really amazing. Maybe not as much, but you know, still enjoying it, getting those experiences.
Yeah, certainly.
Like
You brought up an awesome topic. I cannot wait for Animal Crossing New Horizon.
really,
Yeah.
was Animal Crossing really like a big thing for you?
Yes. Specifically Animal Crossing City Folk, which was the one on the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
So I was probably like 12. Oh dude, it was my brother and I played the absolute crap out of that game. And because it really is a game you can put just infinite time into. And
Yeah.
apparently you have that when you're 12. And they really haven't they released a good one for the 3DS since then, but they haven't really put out a mainline Animal Crossing game in about 7 years.
Damn.
I bought the one for the 3DS, and it was so fun.
Yes. Yeah, I would say it's probably the best one, but it's
New
not
Leaf,
on
right?
a home
That's what it's
console,
called.
so yes. Yeah.
New Leaf, I'm excited because yeah, I want to get more Switch games that are interesting to me. Like I'm excited for Breath of the Wild 2 as well. Like a lot of the new games that are coming out just look so fun.
They are doing so well with their Switch lineup.
Oh yeah, they're doing a great job. Like Nintendo's always done a pretty good job, but they've like after the Wii U, I was kind of scared for the Switch.
Yeah, debacle.
And, like they've done amazingly.
Yeah. No,
with
for
it.
sure. They definitely like I don't know. I see a lot of game companies like following the same formula, whereas Nintendo I feel like is very good at like realizing when they've maybe put out a subpar product and fixing it for the next one.
And they're not afraid to take their time, which I think makes everything so much better. Because
Yeah.
like a normal game company would be putting out a game as successful as Zelda yearly. Every year, new
Yeah.
Zelda game. Every year. Right? Like, you know, you've seen it with Call of Duty, you've seen it with Halo, especially since they got picked up by 343. Like
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
Like
Assassin's Creed.
you see it time and time again, but like Nintendo has always taken their time. Like it's on average 7 years between full-fledged Zelda releases. Which is crazy.
Crazy.
For a
yeah,
game
for
that's
sure.
as successful and as instantly sellable as Zelda, like they are still like, no, we're gonna take our time. Like the next Zelda game is being produced at the time of release of the last Zelda game, yet it still takes 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like kind of telling for these other game companies. Like, if you're coming out with it in a year,
Something's
that's gotta
wrong.
be.
Yeah, like something's up.
But no, it's really interesting. Like, seeing just how Nintendo has kind of like sailed by their own like set of rules instead of following kind of what everyone else is doing. Because I get mixed up with all these like more American type game industries, game companies. Like, I can't really tell the difference a lot of the time, but like, I don't know. There's just something. Nintendo's in their own lane, I guess, is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah. Well, guys,
sure.
I think we're gonna wrap it up here. I do have one more question for Shiny, and that is, how did you get the name ShinyZebra?
You know, I wish I had a good story on this one, but I was coming up with my Xbox Live username and couldn't figure out what to make it, and thought long and hard as the 12-year-old I was, and realized that the perfect formula for a username was adjective and noun.
Well, you're smarter than me.
Oh yeah.
I went straight formulaic with it, but I've really grown into it. I like my name a lot.
That's awesome.
Was there anything? So did you come up with it, or was it an Xbox generated? Like.
Oh no, it was 100% me.
Okay, and was there anything about like zebras that called to you, or was it just like, okay, ShinyZebra?
So I really think zebras are fascinating, and I did at the time too. Although they weren't like my favorite animal or anything like that, but I really just think it's crazy how evolution created these things that have very vivid stripes, and it's almost like kind of like the whole idea of being like fabulous, but for some reason, yeah, exactly. But like for some reason, it happens like via nature and evolution, and I don't know, really seemed interesting to me. And then shininess, there's just a certain aspect to shiny which is always positive. Like, you're never going to use shiny in like a negative sense. And so I just really love the combination of those two.
I think I followed your like logic when I was making my first ever gamer tag, which was actually in Minecraft. When I was 10 years old, because I went with toasted pickles.
Toasted pickles.
Yeah, I have no idea why. I think I was sitting there, my mom was making my account for me, and she was like, "What do you want your name to be?" And I just was like, I sat there, thought for maybe 15 seconds. I was like, "Toasted pickles." She was like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I like that." She's like, "Okay."
That's hilarious. Once again, that wraps it up for us here at Same But Different. A special thank you to ShinyZebra for joining us today. All of his socials will be linked in the description below, so be sure to check him out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want to catch these interviews live, be sure to follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/SBDpodcast. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.
Won't you please stay for the night? Everything gon' be alright when you by my side. She looks so lovely. She say that she in love with me. Her voice is like a drug to me, and I just need